Hey guys, Inferno here with a review of Morbid the Seven Acolytes. This is a horrorpunk action RPG developed by Still Running and published by Merge Games. It released on Steam on December 3rd, 2020 and is filled with Lovecraftian horrors, Cronenbergian gore and good old-fashioned loot. Players take control of the last surviving striver of the Brom. You have trained your whole life for this moment, to defeat the Seven Acolytes, which are powerful beings possessed by mysterious monsters called Gahars. The Gahars have bound their twisted minds to the flesh of the Seven Acolytes, for without hosts they cannot survive. They are foul-looking beasts, and I'm thankful for the pixel art style of the game, as some of the monsters and bosses are quite graphic. Plus there's lots of blood and guts, but it's not too in your face thanks to the art style. Whilst fighting the first boss, I didn't notice what was in the background until its guts exploded everywhere upon defeating it. It was a dead whale, and after the blood explosion settled, it lets you run through to the next area. That was pretty mild though compared to some of the other bosses. Playing Morbid the Seven Acolytes reminded me of Diablo 2 back in the early RPG days. The controls for this game took a little getting used to. Use WSAD to move, 1 to 4 to activate items in the quick slots in the bottom left of the screen, and using the keyboard to navigate the inventory is a bit clunky. The mouse is used to aim melee attacks and fire ranged weapons with single clicking left mouse button for light attacks and holding it down for heavy attacks, while right mouse button parries. Holding down shift allows you to sprint at a cost of stamina, and holding control allows you to stealth, which amplifies the sounds around you, allowing you to sneak past enemies or get behind them for larger attacks. There's a heavy emphasis on managing your stamina, as sprinting, dodge rolls with spacebar and heavy attacks sap your stamina, and you don't start with too much initially. There are over 25 different weapons in the game, ranging from small and quick weapons like one-handed swords and daggers, or heavy hitters such as tridents and greatswords. You can also carry a ranged weapon that you pick up a short time into the game, and you can use pistols, shotguns and crossbows. But you have very limited ammo. Just 5 bullets or bolts, but you can collect rare ammo refill packs. Meditating at a shrine restores your health and ammo, thankfully. Each of the different weapons in the game has a number of upgrade slots that you can fit runes into. Runes do things such as add fire or lightning damage, increase your health, life tap on hit, and can be added to weapons on the fly. My sword and trident had 4 rune slots, which made a noticeable difference to damage output and adding fire, poison or cold damage. While I would normally go for faster swing speeds in games like this, I preferred using two-handed weapons even though they are much slower. The range that you can hit monsters gives you a lot more escape and dodge mobility, especially with the boss fights where they hit you extremely hard. Later you are granted an item to remove runes, however be warned, they remove all the runes at once, and this rune remover is a single-use item. It's a bit of a bummer that we can't swap out individual runes, as it means we need to store more for later, taking up inventory space. Exploring each zone early on, which are indeed impeccably detailed, you'll find books that will either provide a game tutorial hint or provide some of the game's story and lore. You get a quick glance at the item description, but it's not until you get to shrines that you're able to read more into the game's story. Read the quest log, meditate, fast travel, and save a game. These shrines are your save points, and therefore you will want to remember where they are. You'll die a lot whilst learning each monster's mechanics, particularly the Skull Archon mini-bosses. When you do die, you respawn at the last shrine you visited. You don't lose items or XP thankfully, but monsters all reset. When fighting through these zones, there's no minimap or overarching map to open, therefore you need to remember where things are or where you picked up that side quest, which can get frustrating. I had to do a fair amount of backtracking to remember where an NPC was that I got a side quest from, to the point I skipped handing them in during the starting zones. There are also no vendors or storage chests, so after a while I had to just discard items when my pack was full. The other unique additions to Morbid the Seven Acolytes are the leveling system and the Sanity Meter. When you gain enough XP to level up, you're rewarded with a skill point. I was waiting for a while with no method to use these skill points until I came across my first blessing. Blessings are like buff cards that you spend points to level up, and they can only be slotted when at shrines. The Sanity Meter is purple on the left of the screen, and if you start dropping close to 0, purple veins pulse at the edges of the screen. When this happens and monsters die, there's the chance of a purple ghostly form of that monster will spawn, adding more difficulty to the combat. I like the fact that shrines are your save points, and meditating at them will reset all the monsters you just killed, so just beware. It's a bit of a risk versus reward in that you come across a shrine you may have half health, but you may decide not to meditate, as you can then run freely to other paths you may have skipped past to get there. I also like that you can fast travel between shrines, allowing you to teleport back to hand in side or main quests without having to run back and remembering the way without a map. It's sometimes a good break between combat, allowing you to unwind a little by reading some item, weapon, area or story lore that you uncovered through the recent travels. Overall, Morbid the Seven Acolytes is a decent action RPG that fans of the genre will enjoy. It has a Dark Souls style to it, so be sure to keep an eye out for those shrines. Death isn't to be feared, but you will have to fight the monsters you cleared, and in the later levels this can mean a decent amount of time lost. Still, I enjoyed the progression from each zone with terrific music, and I like the art style that softened the sometimes graphic content. If you're up for a challenge, Morbid is for you. This review utilised the Steam key provided by Evolve PR. Morbid the Seven Acolytes is out now on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. I hope you enjoyed this review of Morbid the Seven Acolytes. Keep an eye on my Twitch and YouTube channels where you can watch reviews like this in progress. You can like and subscribe to these channels and let me know your thoughts in the comments. My name is Inferno and I will see you next time.